Had you always been a big child?
No.
Right. So when did the adding of weight start?
I was almost 19 years old
when
I was obese. I had a series of health conditions as well. Diabetes, pre-diabetic. I was pre-diabetic.
So when you were 18, you were already pre-diabetic?
Yes.
Right.
I was pre-diabetic. I had low self-esteem. I have to talk about that as well because I feel that that's critical in my journey as well. I had low self-esteem. I had body hate. I was always lethargic. And I had what we now know as PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. At this point, nobody even really knew what it is, even abroad, right? So I would go up to, I think my longest period was 127 days. I bled for 127 days.
You bled for 127 days?
Yes, I was the girl with the issue of blood.
Oof.
Yes. And so when I was thinking about it and the doctors were like, oh, put her on birth control, I was like, I am almost 19. Why am I going on birth control for what? But this was the only way they knew.
To stop the bleeding.
Exactly. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So one day I just told myself, I'm like, Bunmi, there's probably certain things that you're eating and this is your lifestyle that we need to change. And that day I made up my mind to say, I want to lose weight. And I told my mom was like, I'll get on the diet with you.
Yeah, I read that.
And then we went on a diet and we both lost weight. It's not like my mom was grossly overweight, but she was overweight, right? And we both lost weight.
And this was at the age of 19?
Yes. And so I went on to, she finished hers, of course, but was still encouraging me on mine. And it was not just me. I mean, in my family, I only have one sibling that is slim. The rest of us, and I'm the only girl of 4 boys, well, 3 now, but 4 boys, and 3 of us were overweight. So 2 of us who lived together, 3 of us lived together, we decided to go on a diet. And then we changed our entire grocery list every week. And so all of us lost weight.
All of you lost weight?
All of us.
So the self-esteem issue started when?
I think I was, and when you become a teenager as well, as a woman, you start to become more self-conscious, more aware of who you are, your body is changing. Exactly. So I think that came as a result of becoming a teenager and then looking at myself in the mirror and not looking like other people, other girls that were my age, and then already having stretch marks. So it's like, oh my goodness, why is this me?
So your teenage years, you already had stretch marks?
I did. I did.
That must have been brutal for a young teenager.
Of course. And you want to wear certain things that you can't wear. Because, of course, you have a big belly. There's just many different things. Your bum is bigger than the average. And then you even have, men staring at you in ways that are inappropriate, thinking that you are older than you are.
So you say you found God. How old are you when you found God?
18.
Right. So did finding God, do you think that was linked to being able to wake up one morning and decide you're going to lose weight?
Yes.
How so?
I believe that when I found God, I found me. I say that all the time. I didn't know who I was until I found God. And when I found God, I found myself in Him. I found where I was placed in the world. I had a better understanding of His love for me and what my future could look like based off of what the scriptures said. And so it was almost like before I found God, I was very weak. I was very weak. I was very fragile. Even though, obviously, I think I'm built this way, I just didn't know. And then when I found God, I held on to God so tightly that I believed everything that He told me. So if He tells me tomorrow, Bunmi, and we have such a great relationship, if He tells me, Bunmi, tomorrow we're going to do this, we're going to do it. Because He's the one that said it.
And whether it makes sense to other people or not.
Exactly. We're going to do it. What people were seeing was a weight loss journey. It was deeper than a weight loss journey. It was a total transformation. So what was going on the inside of me, God was healing me internally. I had a lot of, like I said, wounds because of some certain things that happened when I was growing up, just things that I was exposed to in terms of just life. And nothing crazy, to be honest. So where I would binge eat, God would be like, come, let's spend some time together. And we will. And obviously, I'm not binge eating. And so the weight loss, as much as I changed what I was eating, the weight loss as a result of something much greater than just losing weight. I found so much in that. I found the strength of my own resilience, of my person. I found that, you know what, if you can actually hold this your mouth, you can do anything because, discipline that you get from weight loss, is so profound. And I think that's why I've also been able to do many things in my life, because once you can be disciplined with what you put in your mouth, you can almost do anything. Which is why when people don't do well on their weight loss journey, they take it hard on themselves because they feel like, I have failed. Right? But it's not so.
What did you find God?
I grew up in a Christian home. In fact, I'm a normal pastor. So my mother is a pastor. I was your typical church girl, but I wouldn't say that I had a relationship, an intimate relationship with God. I just knew God as this God that is in heaven, that created us and that says he loves us, but I didn't have any relationship with him. It was a day I can never forget. In my room, no lights, no cameras, no music, nobody playing soft keys. But
I surrender all.
Nothing. But I heard a voice say to me, audible voice, said, Bunmi, why are you looking for love in the wrong places? And I was like, who said that? But you know, at that moment, I had a tug in my heart, and then I knew this is God. And I got down to my knees and I said, God, I've tried this many times before and I've failed. But this time, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I put my hand in yours. Let's go on this journey together. I want to be born again for real. I want to be a true daughter of God. I want to know you, not just fluff and candy floss. I really want to know who you are between both of us.
I love that, a great love story. So when you heard the voice, why are you looking for love in the wrong places? Where were you looking for love?
I liked a boy.
The heart of the matter.
I liked a boy that didn't like me back.
Yeah.
I liked a boy that didn't like me back, and I was feeling like really depressed and sad because I felt that he had led me on and then just ghosted me. But then I was like, this is a little young boy, right? And I look back, I'm like, just all that nonsense. It wasn't good what he did, but I feel like what he did led me to, because I was depressed that day or whatever, because it's like the day after this boy said, you know what, I don't like you, I can never like you, you know, stuff like that, And I felt like, oh, wow, you know, and yes, but shout out to him because...
Shout out to him, Losing a brother is obviously for anybody a tragic thing, but when I read your post about, I think it was in September last year you posted it, it felt like this one cuts really deep.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
I mean, the loss of anything or anybody is very deep. But I cannot explain the pain of losing a sibling. It's not something that can be explained. I felt dead. Like a part of me left when my brother died. And also because it was a tragic death. He was not sick, right? So, you know, not that minimizes another person's pain who their sibling passed as a result of, you know, being sick or whatever. But I saw my brother 2 days before he passed away, right? That morning, I just woke up and I just felt the pull to go to his house. So I took my kids. I'm like, hey, let's go and see Uncle Toby. They're like, hey, because they like him. And then we went to his house and we just chilled the entire day. The entire day and then the next day he took my kids out, and then the next day he was gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
He was murdered. Yeah, he was shot. He was shot. And it was just a tragic time for our family, you know. And it's like, how did this happen? You know, how did this happen? It's not like it was just tragic. It was just tragic because the person that's murdered does not even know him. You know, you just take out a gun and shoot someone. You know? And he you know, is leaving a son behind, and then we told my dad, and my dad died too as a result of the grief and the shock.
So you lost your brother and then your dad?
In 10 days.
In 10 days?
And just the week before that, I had lost my pastor, who's also like a father to me. I lived with him for many years, so he passed away 1 week, my brother the next week, my dad the next week. So I had 3 very important men in my life die 3 weeks apart. Well, three in 3 weeks, 1 week apart. So it was a very tragic time for me, very, very tragic. It was almost like everything didn't make sense in the moment. Like there was a lot of confusion, a lot of haze.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are we going to get through this? How are we going to get through this? But I had a very, very strong community. Yes. All my friends, people were flying to Toronto even from Lagos. Like it was like they were going to Ibadan.
How was your mom?
It was tough. It was tough. But my mom, somebody losing a child is not supposed to be, right? One of the first night, I remember putting her to bed and then being awoken at about 3 a.m. with her screaming, God, help me, God, no, help me. So that was tough. That was tough for me because I now also have to be strong because I somewhat have to be like a rock for my mom. My dad was on vacation in Nigeria. He used to come to Nigeria some periods of time during the year. So my daddy was in Nigeria. So we also had to break the news to him, and we hadn't yet because my brother had to fly to Lagos so that he could be there, and then we break the news to him, right? So that was really, really tough. My mom is doing a lot better now. She's a warrior, to be honest. She's a woman of God. So I would say that it's God that has held her in this process. Yeah. But every day I look at her, I'm just like, I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah.
She's a really, really strong woman.
Yeah.
Of course, she has her days of grief when you think about the fact that somebody killed your child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But she's a lot better.
Yeah.
She's
Thank
a
God for
lot
that.
better, yeah.
How does God stand by and let your brother be shot by strangers, your daddy pass on, your pastor live? Where is God?
Where is God? When this thing happened, one of the first questions that I think any human will ask themselves is, God, why did you let this happen? But I didn't have any of those questions on my lips.
You didn't?
No. I know that sounds weird. But the type of relationship that I have with God, I know that God loves me. And I know that his thoughts towards me are of good and not of evil. So I know that he didn't do this. Right? Now, one of the first things that I thought, in fact, one of the first things that came out of my mouth when my brother came and shared the news, he's one who came and broke the news to us. I just took, kind of stabled my mom, and I just went on a prayer walk, and all I could do for 1 hour was speak in tongues because I had no words. But that was my response. And it is not Christianese. That was what could only come out of me. I just spoke in tongues for and then after, I was like, God, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I need you. And then I went into the house and I put on worship music and I knelt down and I started worshiping.
Wow.
Yeah. I started worshiping. And of course, many people started coming, because obviously the news is spreading. My brother is quite popular in Toronto. My house is then full of people, And then we're walking through that. We basically buried my brother about a week after. And then the day after we buried my brother, I just hear a knock on the door. My brother calls me first of all. He's like, where are you? In my mind, I'm like, at home now. Like, where can I be? He said, come downstairs. I said, cool. I was already scared. And at that point, the moment I see a number of people coming toward me, I get nervous because obviously I'm associating that with
loss.
Yes. So as I open the door, I see my oldest brother. I see his son and his daughter. I see my mom's brother. I'm shaking. And my brother is just like, Daddy has died.
Eesh.
And I'm just like, I couldn't even cry. I was just shaking, like I was vibrating. They had to hold me. They held me and put me on the chair. So I'm like, they're like, oh, is mommy sleeping? I said, no, I don't think so. But I have to go and look for how to bring her downstairs so that they can now, of course, break the news to her, So I do that. And the moment I do that, I'm like, I need to go on a walk. So I go, my best friend at this point is around from Nigeria. So I wake up, I'm like, this has happened. And she's like, what do you mean? What is going on? And I text my other bestie, and she's like, no. And so me and my best friend, we then go on a prayer walk. And I'm like, I don't know at this point whether it's a spiritual battle that we have to fight, because I don't know what's happening.
Going on.
At this point, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. The only thing I know is that I'm not using weapon. I'm the weapon that is going to fight, because I don't know what's happening here, you know. And it was almost like at some point you start thinking, oh, who's next? It's like, is it Russian roulette?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, after that prayer walk, you know, I just heard God say, I'm in control. I'm in control.